because that's what professionalism is about. It's the old adage of manners matter. Manners matter. They're very important still in today's job force, still in today's workforce. And so today I'm going to hopefully give you a lot of aha moments with etiquette. To give you a little background about myself, I've been a business owner for the last 10 years. I graduated with my master's degree. Straight out of college, I went straight to work. In about 10 years of working, I got disillusioned with the job force. I just didn't have good experiences with bosses and people and those that ran my time. So I jumped ship and became an entrepreneur. And so 10 years of entrepreneurship and business ownership have really opened the doors for me in success and the things that I do, but it also put a very heavy responsibility on me, which was how I'm perceived by others, how I'm looked upon when I speak, when I talk, when I dress to go out to meet a client or to make a presentation in front of folks like yourself. What is my responsibility as a member of the community that's helping the community, and how can I give back to my community that's helped me to get successful? Many, many more responsibilities than I thought, than just simply owner of my own time, because now I have responsibility with my time. So that's something that I hope as I go through this presentation, I'm going to overlay that you actually are owners, but you're owners of yourself. And when you start to see that perception that you indeed are an organization of one, a very important one, then professionalism, as we're going to talk about today, is going to be extremely important. In no matter what facet you end up becoming as part of this community. Whether you become, again, employed, which would be great, or maybe you decide to become a business owner, or perhaps a professional volunteer, which I hope. A statistic that I just read, which I was very surprised about, in our city alone, Greensboro, only about 17% of the folks that are unemployed are volunteering right now.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, so was I.
That's a huge industry in Greensboro, volunteering.
Right. In fact, if you go to the volunteer organization or coalition website, you'll see that there's well over 1,000 nonprofits in Greensboro alone. I find it hard to believe, as my counterpart, what's your name, sir?
John.
John. As John has just illustrated, it's shocking that over 80% of the folks cannot find something to do with their time after they've exhausted some job searching. And the only benefit, truly, to volunteering is for you. The volunteers, of course, benefit off of you, but you have something else to place in the time that you have off that an employer might say is very valuable. Is a reason perhaps they want to hire you. Now, I don't know everybody just yet, but throughout the presentation, I will. I'll learn a little bit of how long you've been unemployed, or have you been going in and out of temporary jobs and so on, what's your experience like that. But today we're going to talk about professionalism. As it used to be called, etiquette, still is, and of course, as Mom used to say, manners. That's really what matters in business. So what does etiquette have a benefit to you? Why is it beneficial to you? The first one is it differentiates you in the competitive job market that we have today. Now some of you may say, really? This is going to differentiate me from the market? Absolutely. Because I, as a business owner, if I was hiring, I want somebody to be as professional or better than I am. They're representing my company. I must look consistently consistent as I go out. Therefore, corporations are doing the same thing. They're saying, I want somebody that really stands out on all facets. Because, let's face it, the resumes that are stacked on that individual HR manager's table are all qualified. That's why they're there. The rest have already been tossed to the side. And if you're one of the bunch, now the question is, how do you stand out from that stack that's on the table? What is going to be the key component? Part of it is professionalism. That is a component to sifting out the rest. In any profession, I see you dressed up in nurses' type uniforms. All of them I'm talking about, not just where you dress up fancy like I am today. The other reason, it enables you to be confident in a variety of settings with a variety of people. We are in a diverse community. Greensboro, I'm thankful to say, is extremely diverse in cultures, creeds, religions, beliefs, backgrounds, so many different people. The key is to be comfortable with all. That there's no awkward moments when you're discussing something important with someone. That's really what's key. To find that connectivity as human beings and to feel comfortable in that setting. So manners can do that, etiquette can do that, professionalism can do that. Honor, commitment, and excellence to quality. How many companies do you see have something of that phrase in their vision statement, in their mission statements? Commitment to quality and excellence. Well, guess what? That should be your statement. Should it not? That's what's important. How is your quality and standard of commitment to your future employer, to yourself, to your family, to your community? Where's the bar set for you? Now it starts to sink in, doesn't it? And then, of course, it modifies distracting behaviors and develops admired conduct. We'll go deeper into that today. But there are things that we all do that are distracting to people. And we don't want to be distracted. We want them focused on us completely. We want to engage them. We want to connect with them. The only way to do that is to make sure that we are sharp, primed, ready for all circumstances. So it's important to look at ourselves as a whole unit. It's a whole unit. So let's dig deep. These are the 4 topics I'm going to talk about today. So we won't spend a lot of time on any of these topics. They're very, very broad. Etiquette is huge. Just American etiquette alone can fill a volume worth of textbooks. International etiquette ends up a whole new gamut. And you have to keep open-minded. I don't know if any of you here are interested in moving abroad to pursue a career of some sort. But when you do that, you have to get involved in the community. You have to get involved in the international etiquette that comes to play with that. So your mind might be having to open itself up to a broader range of rules and regulations and conduct. But today we're just going to talk about American etiquette, American standard etiquette. We're going to talk about the basics, professional appearance, how you look. That does not only include outside, it includes inside as well. Networking, which is part of what we hope all of you are doing as you go to these functions. And then office etiquette. This one I'm going to spend a little extra time on because how many of you here have spent time in temporary jobs while you've been searching? Okay, we got one of these. So what I'm going to do is cover the office etiquette because while you're in that temporary job, I'm hoping the hope that you have, as I do, is that they offer you a permanent job, right? If you get a temporary job, the goal is that you're hoping you're doing such a great job that you'll get hired permanently. But how do you assure that? How can you make sure all your cards are drawn out, that the opportunity can present itself? And that's what we'll go into some office etiquette to assure that no stone is left unturned while you're in that company. So let's begin. Etiquette basics, creating a positive image with proper behavior. A majority of what we do dictates to people how we feel. A majority of things that we do dictates to people how we feel. No words, right? But it's speaking volumes, isn't it? That is how etiquette begins. It's in the behavior. What do you look like to people when you're waiting in that waiting room? Are they speaking volumes right now to you as you're looking at them? Yeah, they are, aren't they? It's amazing how we as humans can immediately say that. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, these characteristics are exactly the same. That means your future employer can see these. If they're an astute business owner, they are seeing these. If they've hired astute individuals, they are seeing these things. So what is your attitude when you approach a company? From the moment you walk in the door to address the receptionist, what is your attitude? Are you smiles? Are you excited to be there? I hope so. That's the key point. Do you look like you're excited to be there? Have you greeted that individual with respect and honor? Despite what they're doing. I'll give you an example. You might approach a desk, and there's the receptionist, and she looks, or he looks, like they're chatting with their best friend, and not paying attention to a single thing you're saying. What do you do in a situation like that?
Feel it out.
Feel it out?
Try to get their attention, but not demand their attention.
Okay. Be very kind and courteous, letting them finish their conversation, perhaps. How about you? What would you do?
Just like try to get their attention, not try to talk to them, like not preach.
Okay. So everybody here is in a somewhat of consensus. It's almost uncomfortable to break up the conversation. In etiquette, we learned that, right? You don't want to interrupt rudely. You just want to somehow get their attention. So the key answer is yes. You would immediately start to position yourself somehow in front of their vision so that they see you. And the hopes is that they will, in fact, say, I gotta go, and start to talk to you. That's correct. But you see, you're at that point still smiling, excited to be there. It starts the second you walk in. What is your behavior? In fact, in some particular cultures and traditions, they're even looking at you the second you drive up to the parking lot. Let me ask you this question. This I learned recently in etiquette school, and etiquette trainings, and just shared information on etiquette websites, which I encourage you to go to. The car parks, and it's facing outward, not inward, as all the other cars. What do you think that says? Well, can't follow directions is one. What do you think? They're facing out instead of in to the curb.
Don't take extra time to back out when I leave. I'll be ready to go to my next appointment.
Yes, that is it. I want to rush and get out of here. Oh yeah. Even the car that you park is indicating to folks what you might want to do next. I didn't know that. That was interesting. Now tell me this, talking about your automobile. How's it look on the inside?
Drives me crazy this month.
Well, how's your automobile look inside? Is it clean? Is everything organized? Why do you think that's so important? It's your behavior, right? It's telling me as a potential hirer how you truly behave. There are companies that actually will have people go out and check the car. They'll send the secretary, the administrative person, the guard, to go to the car and just say, tell me how it looks. So by the time you reach the administrative person at the desk, you've already been hacked. Information has already been dispensed to the HR manager. Car, mess. End of story. Volumes have already been dictated. Behavior. That's what behavior is. Full circle. Yes, ma'am?
Will they check your tires?
Will they check your tires? Great question. I hope they add air to them too while they're at it. But no, they're really looking more at the inside. But yes, if the tires look a little scrawny and it's a beautiful sunny day like this, you know, it could be 50-50. But mostly it's the inside. It's actually the inside. They're looking at how does it look inside. The window's full of fingerprints, that kind of thing. What's going on? How does this person dictate to me that their lifestyle, their behavior is the type that I want in the company? And I was proof positive that my car never dictated how I like to live. Okay? I did not keep a clean car as I got older. Then I started realizing, oh my. When I found that fact out, I started cleaning the inside of my car. That was it. I brought a sheet with me in case I just wanted to cover some stuff up. Clue. But it still worked out. That's a great piece of information. What about when you're waiting in that room? Again, going back to these images. How do you look like? Are you confident? Do you look calm and collected? Are you looking at your watch all the time? Just because they're off their schedule, should that affect you? No, you should know that real life, not everything goes on time, does it? In real life, things are buzzing. This company could be very busy. And so you'll have to be patient. So where is your body at the time of that patient moment? Cameras are everywhere today. It's time to speed up the process of understanding behavior means a lot. Let's go to attitude. Are you perceived by your friends right now, as it stands, as a friendly, go-getting, exciting type of individual? Or do they call you humble, quiet, conserved, shy? Go to your friends. Go to your family. This is for you to find out. Who do you think is going to get hired for the position? I don't know. See, the answer is hard to say too, isn't it? Because they may be looking for someone who's quiet and shy. They don't mind. Maybe it's an administrative position that they're just letting them do their own work. But you have to decide, depending on what you want to be when you grow up, what does the behavior and attitude of that particular superstar look like? And then ask your friends, do I fit that profile? And if not, you must start adjusting it. You must start from here on adjusting your profile of your attitude. Because attitude is optional. Attitude is optional. We decide from the moment we get up what our day is going to be like. Not the rain, not the sky, not the flat tire, nothing. Outside really should affect our attitude in life. Whatever your worldview is, you have to decide for yourself if that is an influence in your life. I live from a biblical worldview. And thus, that strengthens me. That makes me see what joy is really like. And that's what I hold on to, despite the adversities that I will always face in my life every day. That's the attitude. And do you think employers are looking for that? Yes, I'll tell you why. Because they have a lot of wet mops working for them right now. And they're looking for someone like you to come in and change the attitude of their whole company. It only takes one good apple to make the bunch worthwhile to grab. Ask Harris Teeter. That's why they put the good stuff on top, so that you can grab after the rest. That's how a company works. So it's important to understand your attitude and your behavior, that it be positive. So that image, no matter what you're wearing, has already been taken over. By your facial expressions, by your smile, by the way you're perceived the minute you walk in. And sometimes you have to force it. That's okay. You're not faking it. You're just saying, I'm going to force myself to enjoy life. I have an opportunity to work for this great company, to finally earn some income. I'm happy about that. Let's go for it. Let it all hang out. But that's the way you have to work. Professional appearance. Now let's get into the gusto of these little nuances, as I call them, the details. Okay, the big one was the attitude, as I said. That's the big one, the behavior, the way you shake hands with people, the way you look at it. We're going to talk about that. But now, my favorite song that my kids love to sing, that we sing in the car on the way to anywhere, is Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. You know the song. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes. That's how you're going to keep track of your appearance. Now everyone's going to memorize that song. You trust me, you will. Head. Your hair should be always groomed, ready to go. On rainy days, you're going to have to use the gel. That's what I do, because it's going to rain today. So your hair has got to be proper. You got to comb it, you got to brush it, you got to make sure it looks right. If you're starting to bald, you decide how you want to handle it. Some people look great bald and they wear it very well. Others, they want to do the Donald Trump thing. Whatever works for you, but that hair must be groomed. You must appear solid. For the men, not too much to work with nowadays. You just comb it a certain way and it's great. Avoid the colors. There's some guys that love to wear particular colors in their hair I've seen lately. Watch that. Women, same thing. Brush it, make it look nice. Gray is beautiful. Stop trying to cover it so much. It's okay. That's the way we are. We're aging. Nobody can avoid it. Shoulders. How do you stand? Posture. Check your posture all the time. Before you walk in the room, as you get out of the car, as you walk out the bathroom, walk in the bathroom. You're always watching. Your posture should always be right and upright. Shoulders back, chest out, stomach in. Just the way the military did it. That's the way you stand posture. It shows what?
Confidence.
Exactly. So you don't have to teach you that, you know it. Shoulders back, confidence. Going back to the head, one thing I failed to mention with the ladies, and you'll have to check me on this, ladies, because there's only one guy here. I can talk macho to macho. But ladies, you got to control me on this one. Makeup. Thank you. Conservative is always best. Conservative is always best. Now I'm looking around the room. You all look beautiful. Watch the eyeliner. Watch the eyelash. Don't go overboard like you're going out Friday night. That is not professionalism for the workforce. The workforce is always conservative. Just enough to blush, just enough lipstick to look right. Red is the color always of choice. For the darker skinned folks like myself, I'm dark skinned, still got my tan. But for the dark skinned folks, again, there's always temptation to try some of the browns and all that. Look at it to make sure it doesn't stand out too much. That's what you're looking for, that it doesn't make you just stare at your lips the whole time when they're looking at you. It should be just highlighting the natural beauty that's already there. So you want to make sure, again, that makeup is on the level of conservative. And if you are not sure what that looks like, thank goodness for Google. You can type in professional makeup on Google and see tons of images of what is right and what is not right. But makeup should be part of your general repertoire. It is acceptable in business to be without makeup, but that's on your confidence note. That's what you have to decide. Do I feel comfortable without makeup? There are some ladies I've seen that just refuse to put on makeup. But they wear it well because they compensate with a lot of other things that we'll talk about. So again, makeup is on the level of conservative. Now we got head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Okay. For the men, posture. Do not stand like you're ready to play basketball. I see guys do this. They stand in the elevators like this the whole time. Feet this far apart. Yeah, you can't be tipped over or anything. You're ready to go, but it just does not show confidence very much. You look like you're ready to dash out the door. Posture. There they go. Now what's neat about this is you'll know you got it right when somebody can come over and tap you and you look like you're about to fall down. That's when you got it right. For the ladies, the same thing. Shoes this way, feet pointing forward, not out here. Okay, forward. When you do that, everything starts to line up automatically. The shoulders part automatically fits in because your feet are there. It took me a while to practice this, even as a speaker, to remember to just get my toes to land back in this position each time. Still working on it. But that's the position that holds posture. Feet forward. Now toes. Men, we're lucky. We just have a set of nice black shoes and we're all set to go. Make sure they're always shiny. Make sure they're not scuffed. That goes all around. If they look a little worn, time to look for some new shoes. You always want your shoes to look sharp. Ladies, open-toed or closed-toed? Closed, closed, you say closed, closed, closed?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
I think that it depends on what your comfort level is and where, I mean, if it's in the summertime, then, or, on a warmer day, I'm going to wear open shoes, but I'm going to have my nails done, my toenails done.
Okay. Okay.
I think that it just really depends. I mean, you can be in a nice suit and still have, I don't think sandals, I wouldn't say that, but this is a dress shoe, it's a very expensive dress shoe. I feel very comfortable with that.
Okay. The answer is, and you rebuked yourself very well. You rebuked my expression and everything very well. But the business protocol etiquette is closed shoe. As I said, everything you said was completely right, without question. However, the business protocol is closed toe. Closed toe. Even on casual days. Even on casual days. When you're outside of the business world, go for it. But inside the business world, in the company, it is closed toe. Holiday parties, company outings, outside of the building, that would be acceptable. Painted toes, perfect. Even better. I've seen some toes that just won't fly. Again, if you have dry skin, make sure to get lotion on it, especially in the wintertime. Men, same thing. Our hands sometimes will get ashy. You don't want that. Especially nowadays that we're on the keyboards more often. We're typing away. That's it. You're in trouble if you look like you are working construction on the side. See, so it's very important. So again, you are right. Emotionally, but business-wise, it's closed toe. I argue it too. I do.
I think that it also depends upon the atmosphere of where you're going to work.
We're going to get into that too. I'm glad you said that. That's going to be the last point of Office Etiquette. The atmosphere where we're at. That's going to be key. So hold on to that thought.
So I think, may I also say that if an owner or something, you want to kind of mimic what they're doing. So if you've met the same or somewhere else, in possibly a business setting, and you kind of mimic their dress. Not to say that you stoop down to their level if they're not wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but that you kind of mimic what the office is like, because if you're wanting to fit in,
and you're right on target. You've been stealing some of my thunder for the last slide, but you're doing great. That's the mentality I want to see as well. Observance. You're talking about observation, looking at things, and that's going to be critical in our last section. Heads, children, eyes. Okay, eyes. I have to sing the song and remember it. Eyes now. Glasses. I see only one pair there. John, you got glasses? Anybody else wear reading glasses as well? Some readers? Okay, good. They must always be clean. The biggest thing that is really bad appearance is when those glasses are nice and dusty. It speaks volumes. It is distracting. It's kind of gross too. So you want to make sure those glasses, including the reading glasses, are always sharp and clean. Very important. Very important, because the eyes are the windows to the Why are you going to block it with dirt and dust? That doesn't work. So you must have those glasses clean and proper. And this is a plug for the American Eye Association somewhere. Always get your eyes checked every year. It's important, especially after you hit 40. You should be checking your eyes every year, guaranteed. Glaucoma, all that crazy stuff that happens. That's where you know you can get a nice new pair of glasses all the time. Make sure you have them. Ears. Men and women I've seen, sometimes there's a hair growing out of those ears. Hairy ears. It comes in my family. I didn't want it, I just inherited it. Got to keep those clean and proper. Look at them in the mirror before you start. Make sure they're clean. It's distractive. This is the facial area, right? This is the area that we're looking at, folks. So if those ears are kind of out there and you got hair kind of going, hello, this is where you have to be careful about that. So ears got to be trimmed and proper. I don't want to get gross any further than that and hit my fist. Nose. Yep. Hair grows in nose. If it's sticking out, pull it out. That's the rule of thumb. Now, some of you are younger. You don't have to worry about that. But when you get to my age, woo-hoo, stuff starts growing you never knew. If it's sticking out, pull it out. That's it. Don't argue with it. Just get it out. It's going to bother you, and it's going to be very big to the person staring at it. I know, like I said, this is just the details. Very important details. Also with nose, we obviously use that nose for a majority of our life. Smelling. Scents. Odors. It's amazing how many types of things that we put on our body that have different scents. You start with your shower. You have shampoo. You have soap. Lotion. Then you have some perfume or cologne. Then you sit in a car that has an odor thing hanging around. You're covered with the stuff. So try to limit the scents. Try to get uniform with what you like to smell like. Otherwise, you're just going to smell a bountiful garden of some sort. And so be conservative on that. Do not put too much cologne or perfume on your body. Just get clean and you'll smell good. If you're a sweating type of person, especially under pressure, double up. Double up the shirts, guys. Inner shirt. Even wear two if you have to. Nobody can tell. You just look a little buffier that day. Ladies, same thing. Double up on the deodorant. Whatever it takes. You have to get used to what God gave you, especially under pressure. If you're a sweating type of person under pressure, carry a couple of extra handkerchiefs so that you can always dry yourself off without having to go to the bathroom. And take paper, and then they have the paper that falls apart. And now you got pieces of paper hanging all over your face. Especially my friends with the beard. Keep that trim, keep that sharp, but make sure you look at it, especially after you eat and after you rub with something on it. Because beards cling. Magnets. So very important. Ladies, if you do have the case of growing hair on the legs, keep them together. Keep them trim, keep them proper. No distractions. That's what you want to avoid, is distractions. Acne, all that kind of stuff. Again, natural, it's neat, it's the way it works, but let's try and cover it up a little bit. We have many beautiful concealers now in the makeup aisle at Walgreens, CVS's, inexpensive, and they work beautifully. You can find your color, dab away, get rid of it. Guys, same thing. You cut yourself shaving, dab a little of that on there, nobody will ever see it. Very important for those immediate impressions. You don't want to go in there looking like a bloody mess. I've seen it. It's not pretty. Not pretty to the business owner. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and leaves and mouth. Mouth. Breath. Whatever you ate, carry that toothpaste and that toothbrush handy somewhere in the car, especially if you got multiple interviews that day or that week. Carry it with you. In between lunches, all that. You gotta brush your teeth, you gotta make sure everything's ready to shoot out solid. Don't go too crazy with the mint. They can smell that too coming. Just get something that, again, it's just washing away. Water is the best air freshener on the planet. You can rinse your mouth out with water and it works just as fine. It takes care of that bacteria that's floating around in there. So you can just quickly run into a bathroom, rinse out with water, you'll be just fine. But if you do have some halitosis going on, things that you've been battling with your dentures or whatever you wear inside your mouth, then you got to go a little extra with the mints just to compensate for that. But always have your breath. Teeth. Always look for those little hanging things that hanging around there after lunch. You know, watch them food items. Carry that portable floss. They sell them again at Walgreens, sometimes for $1, pack of 100. You can just carry those and floss away. You want to make sure all your teeth. Every time I do that, I look at the audience when I talk about floss and everybody's doing this. I love that. But that's what you want to do. You want to floss your teeth. You want to make sure everything is clean and ready to go. And if you have the money, if you have a disposable income, and your teeth have grown yellow from coffee, tea, things like that over the years, it's worth the time and investment to do it. Unfortunately, this side of the planet, America, has a thing about white is bright as it relates to brains for some reason. But any other part of the world, yellow is not so bad. That's just the culture. But you see here in America, white is bright. So make sure that you use those brightener toothpaste, things like that, that just give you that extra edge. And if you know that you have a habit of coffee or teas, avoid them. At least until you get the job for a little while. Then you can let it go. But that's what you want to do. You want to make sure. So eyes and nose. Yes, I got it. I got them all. That's how you remember. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. If you remember that and you do that little checklist in your mind, you will always have that exterior ready to go. That's important. Now, the other exterior, the clothes. The clothes. That's the other. I covered, right, the body. Now let's cover the clothes. That little image there that I picked up on the internet is a depiction of professional dress. Professional dress. As you can see, for the guys, not changed in over a century. We just have not changed in over a century. It is still the business jacket, business pants, matching the jacket, nice shirt and tie, shiny shoes. That is the criteria that has been like that forever. Now, ties. There are two colors that apparently are what's called the power ties. This is from fashion magazines and CEO magazines. One is gold or yellow, that yellow range, and the other one is red, the power ties. Those are indicative of CEOs and wannabe CEOs. What else is important about our exterior clothes, men? Everything's got to be pressed. Sharp little lines that go down all the way to the shoes. Buy an iron if you don't have one. Otherwise, spend in the dry cleaners and they'll do it for you. Ask for the extra starch and you're all set to go, John. It will always work when you add the extra starch. Holds and doesn't move. The tie, the same thing, everything. You should always have an extra jacket and suit and tie in your car in case of accidents. I.e. happened to me. I was in between talks and suddenly I spilled some coffee on me at the coffee shop. Tried to get the stain out, just wouldn't. Did not have an extra pair of pants in my suit. So, I walked around with a stain that I can tell every so often people were looking at when they turned that left ankle. Not comfortable. You don't want anything to distract you either. I was distracted constantly by that stain on my pants. That's why it's important to have the extra clothes in that car just in case of emergencies, especially if you have multiple injuries. That goes for the ladies too. Always have extra just in case, because it does happen. No matter how careful you are, something may go wrong. Rub against some dirty pole, or in your car, you just rub against the door, and now you get a big black smear across the arm if you're wearing a white outfit. As you can tell here, there's only one gentleman brave enough to wear a white suit. You see everybody else is in the dark. Dark works. Why? Because it dirties less. So it's much easier to go dark, so that way you don't have to worry about cleaning off. The guy in the white, he is brave. I couldn't survive not even an hour in a white suit. The spot will find itself on me in no time. That's the truth. For the ladies, you can see the business wear is very specific. It's business suits. Stockings, always. Stockings, always. You do not want to wear a business suit and bare leg. Doesn't fly in the business world. There is not a comfort zone for that. It must be stockings so that the leg looks very smooth and proper. From what I can tell, you're wearing stockings. But that's important. So for the ladies, it's important to do that, to keep crisp, clean suits, make jewelry for the ladies conservative. Conservative. The earrings over here are Audrey. Those are conservative earrings. Very nice, very clean. They match your jewelry on your neck. That's it. Just simple highlights. You're wearing earrings also. What's your name? Morgan. Got earrings there. Very simple. Nothing dramatic. Again, it's not distracted. It's not distracted. You don't want big, giant gems going on. Things that ring around and dangle. Very tempting for during the holiday season when folks were wearing all kinds of Christmassy stuff. Not for an interview. Not for an interview. You want to go conservative. You don't know yet what that company's atmosphere is. We'll talk a lot about that. That's important. Rings for the guys. Again, if you're married, you better be one of them. I don't think there's a lady here that would argue that. If you have a college ring, which you see I do not, but if you have a college ring that you're proud of, there you go. Thank you, John. Yes, that is acceptable jewelry because it shows that he's proud of his alma mater. Nothing wrong with that. Might get him to spark up some conversation with the person who has maybe a similar one or another college that they were competitive at some point. Good conversation. So those are the only two. You don't want to go beyond that. No pinky rings if you were from Brooklyn. No. Yes, ma'am?
Suppose you have multiple holes in your ear.
One. Take the rest off. She asked if you have multiple earring holes, which is very popular amongst folks. It could be also religious. There's some folks that that's religious. But for a business interview, again, here in America, key point, one. One ear hole, one earring. For the guys, no earring. Again, John, I can't tell from the distance, but if you had an earring and we're here, that's fine. But in the business environment, you take that off. Just business culture. That's what we're talking about. Now, some folks have different opinions, and that's great to have them. But if you want a job, you got to play by the rules. Okay? If you're applying to be a tattoo artist, rules might be different. And that's okay. So this is important. Professionalism that you share out. Guys, belt buckles. Shiny, clean, spark. No scuffs, no marks. Belt must be good looking. Not old and worn. Ladies, if you happen to be wearing a buckle of some sort, same goes to you. It must look nice, clean, but not overdone. Not this type of buckle. We're not in Texas. I don't want to see a buckle this big on someone. That's Texas stuff. not here in the Americas. Okay, and for the tie, if by chance the jacket is open, the tip of the tie must be just at the belt buckle. Not down here, and not way up here. Goes right up to here. So I'm saying that for the ladies in case you have a gentleman in your life or a friend that's male, let them know that. If they're about to walk out the door, stop them, trick them, whatever you have to do, don't let them out the door. So that tie is in the right place. And that belt buckle is nice and shiny. These things are details, but they're avoiding the distractions. That's what we're doing, so that the interview is perfect. Now the other image here is the business casual look. I will get to the ladies in a second, but men, business casual hasn't changed also in about a century. And it essentially is take off the jacket and there's business casual. Remove the tie and you're in business casual. That is business casual. Just remove the jacket and the tie and everything else is fine. It's a very simple process for guys. Again, you see the types of khakis, business shoes, switches over to maybe loafers. That's about the stem of it. Polo shirt, yes, also business casual. There's a polo shirt. But it has to be crisp, clean, no spots on it, no logos, correct, thank you. That's important. For the ladies, business casual can be slacks, like those. Sweater. You can stand up, actually. This is business casual. What is your name again? Donna. Nice to meet you, Donna. There it is. See? Business casual. Very simple, sweet. For the industry you're in, again, I'm assuming nursing or something similar to that, this is business casual. This is also business professional, too. It's both. Business casual. That's what you're wearing right now. Okay? Jeans and things of that nature, no, they're not considered business casual. That is just simply casual. Okay, sneakers, open-toe shoes, like flip-flops, are casual, not business casual. So that's the area that begins to switch over. If you go online and you type in things like business casual or business attire, you will see charts, actual graphics, and places that you can see exactly what is the proper wear. As I said, for the guys, and for the ladies, no sneakers, no flip-flops, no t-shirts that have logos and they look a little worn and torn. That is casual and even loose. But business casual has a very particular name to it. So, very important. Does everybody understand that one a little bit? Better now? Okay. Let's go into the next subject. Now that you got the exterior and interior working right, networking. I've always said that networking is basically working for your net. That is what you're doing. It shouldn't be looked at any other way. There's socialization, which is just basically having a good time with friends and having that kind of socialization. But networking is working for your net. That is what you're doing. So you have to look at it that way when you go to any place outside of your home that you've dressed up specifically for that. Even in a seminar like this, a workshop, you are now in a networking zone. This is a zone that for entrepreneurs like myself is extremely valuable. It's the best time and the only time I dedicate outside of my family. But for you, working to look for that perfect place to start the networking, it is two things for you. One, it is a resource. That's what this is. A resource, connections, people that might lead to people that lead to people that lead to the job. See? It could go that way. It's not direct, but it's resources that you want to take advantage of. My good friend Kim in the back of the room, that is an ideal resource. Her compadre in crime, Martha Thomas, they are amazing resources for this community. I would not just get a business card from them, but I would invite her to take her out to lunch and find out all the stuff they have in here. Key, great people that I've tapped into, but that I always encourage folks to tap into, to be connected with. That's resources. The second way is direct networking, which means that individual potentially could be your next employer, your next business partner, Your next individual that gets you an opportunity as a freelance or something like that. All options are open when you're unemployed to make money. But networking directly could be great contact. So you have to look at it from both angles. It is also getting out of your comfort zone. When I shake hands with somebody at a networking function, what is your name? Martha. Stand up, Martha, please. Thank you. When I network with somebody and I meet them, the first thing we're going to do is shake hands, right? I hope. You just don't go hi. You shake hands. When you shake hands, this is the proper way to shake hands. You start web to web. Web to web. See, our webs intertwine, and make sure that when I go in there, I'm going in right for the web, and then I grasp. This is a perfect handshake. And then we do the infamous 2 pumps. 1, 2. Now some people love to hang on to your hands. I love people like that, but I'm going to try and get them off me. And I use this ninja trick. We have nerve endings. So Martha, she really wants to hang on to my hand, and I'm starting to feel way beyond uncomfortable. So I'm going to do the ninja trick. I quickly just grab her wrist right here, I just hold firmly there, and now her hand is dislodged, isn't it? It's a little ninja trick. You just grab right in there in the nerve endings, and it just releases the hand. If you do it too tight, this person's going to pass out, and then you're going to help them out, CPR, and everything like that. Don't go too tight. Stay standing, Martha. So now we've met, and the next thing I do is, of course, as I shake her hand, I'm looking right in her eyes. Right? I'm looking right in her eyes. I'm saying, hello, Martha, nice to meet you. And she's smiling, happy Martha. Do you ever get a handshake like this? Hi, how you doing? You ever had one of those? What's it feel like? Awkward. And no relationship skills whatsoever, right? You don't want to do that. When you shake someone's hand, again, we're going in web to web, pump, pump. Nice to meet you. I'm in her eyes. I've made the connection. We are now bonded. Now again, the rule of thumb with distances, it just depends on you. I'm purposely being a little outward so I can talk to folks, but normally when I shake people's hands, I'm about the distance of a right angle of my arm. That is the distance. And if you look carefully, she has also a right angle on her arm. And this is the perfect distance. If you're in other countries, this is actually comfortable. I don't feel very comfortable at this point. But that is the distance with some people. In India, because they're just a crowded bunch of folks, that is the normal distance if you ever shake hands with folks in India. Now in Japan, if you happen to meet folks in Japan, their distance is a little bit further than the right angle. See, we're at kind of that obtuse angle, going at that 180. Because then they follow it with this. They follow with the bow. And if you get too close, we're going to get heads. Obviously somebody found that out the hard way. But that's what you do. See, in Japan, you would bow, bow. And the rule of thumb, if you're curious, is the less senior person bows lower. So if you were my senior, I would purposely bow and make sure your head was not going below mine. Cool stuff. If you happen to work for a Japanese company, it would maybe a nice brownie mark just for you. You work at Honda Jet, get it? Honda, Japan. There's a little perk with it. If you meet that owner, happens to be Japanese, and now you bow to them, you get a brownie point. You never know. It is proper. It is proper. They can't deny it. They accept it. But now you got that 90 grams. So now we've introduced ourselves. The key thing is you're always looking to start conversation. Now you can sit down. Thank you so much. You're always starting conversations. What does the conversation look like? It's an infamous acronym that's been used for so long. I'm not sure how long it's been used for, but it really does stresses the point of how you can keep track of what to talk to. And it's the FORM method. F-O-R-M. FORM. The F stands for family. So if you're networking and you start to talk with someone, you might want to inject family as talking. How do I know that? If I'm speaking with Martha, I noticed that she was not wearing a wedding ring. So I'm assuming single. So I may not talk so much about family. I may talk about just simply how long have you lived here. She may talk to me about I'm a transplant from someplace else, and now we're talking about that. Occupation is the O. That's another icebreaker. Not just simply what you do, but what type of activities do you participate in the area of what you do. See, I love this because some people have titles. I am the manager of such and such department. I am the director of such and such department. But I love to follow that up with, what do you do as the director? What does that entail, being the CEF or something like that? You see, that's the question that opens to some more discussion about their particular profession. You're interested in them, not so much you. Key point to networking. Get off yourself quickly. Hi, my name is Angel, and you are? Oh, nice to meet you. What do you do? What does that entail? See, they're all open-ended questions, not yes or no questions. They're open-ended so that they continue filling me up with what it is that I need to know. The R stands for recreation. What do they like to do for fun? Oh, we're getting into the winter season. Do you ski? I like to ski. So I may ask you, do you ski? Do you hike? Do you travel to a hot place when it becomes cold here? That's recreation. If they have family, if I see a wedding ring, I may say something. Do you have children? Oh, do they like to go in wintertime to go ski? Again, just a conversation. And the M stands for what matters. Now, in many situations, depending on the time of the year, right now, of course, the topic of choice is money. It's just a big topic right now. The money could simply mean to the individual you're speaking to, how has your company handled this past economic downturn that we've had? It's a big question, isn't it? It's an important question. It may lead to some great conversation. It's about money. But what really matters? Your company's vision statement. I notice it talks about quality. How do you ensure that? Your company's mission statement talks about guarantees. My goodness, that's a big, bold word. How have you guys done that? See, you're trying to find what matters to them. What really matters. I notice you have a button there. Is that your volunteer one? Is that your professional?
Profession.
Yeah. See, and now that matters because you're wearing it. If you wear a big button, it's important. My button says Toastmasters International. That's one of my passions. I enjoy it. This year they gave me a bigger button because I got more responsibilities. But that's what matters to me. And if you were talking to me, you might read it and say, "Oh, tell me about Toastmasters. I noticed you have a nice button." And you hit a subject, I'll be talking all day. And I'll think you're my best friend because you're listening. Key component. When you're networking, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them respectively. In networking. That's the key point. Always use them respectively. Listen twice as hard. You want to jump in there, but they haven't finished their sentence. Don't interrupt. Rude. Never looked upon great. I once did that to a woman who was much my senior. I felt like my mom was pulling my ear when she was done with me. Because it's true, it's wrong. You should never interrupt. Stay quiet and learn something. A good friend of mine used to say, listen to learn, learn to listen. Smart guy. Smart guy. So getting out of your comfort zone. When you're in networking functions, these are the things you must avoid by all costs. No swearing. No loud or obnoxious behavior. And no crude comments or topics. You are on your best behavior. As As I always say, imagine that adult that was always in your life, that kind of watched your mouth, and that's what you want to be like in front of people. We have just gotten too flexible with our language, and we have to put a stop to that. The rest of the world does not speak that way. The rest of the world is taught English in a very proper manner, thus, we have to comply with that. We're representing ourselves more than anybody else. How do you feel when you hear somebody use a swear word in front of you? It's uncomfortable, doesn't it? Don't let it slip out of your mouth, despite the challenge. Oh, my water fell. Oops. Whatever it takes. Just make it happen. Avoid that. Some other things in networking that are very gray and airy. Health. America's health is really taking a downturn. People are obese, having trouble eating. Not to be a subject, the person across the table happens to have the same challenge. They'd be uncomfortable to that person. Not good timing. You just stuck your foot in your mouth. Gossip, love life, politics, religion, race, inappropriate stories or jokes. All these things are gray areas. You do not know if that person is going to react the same way your friends did Friday night at TJIF's. Avoid those topics. Unless you are transparent about it and you can defend it, and that's you, but watch it for the business environment and networking. Now, the other part of networking that I find very interesting goes into the area of business cards. This is something I've learned over the years. It hasn't really changed much. But when you present a business card to someone, notice the way I'm holding it. I present it making sure that it is face up to them. And I'm holding it from this very tiny corner. I want them to get my card and hold it properly. Right there in the middle. So now they can see everything there. Now, if I receive the card, notice how I'm grabbing it. Notice how I'm grabbing it. You got your hand business. But notice how I'm grabbing it. See? Both hands. So I'm holding in front of the person, and then I start doing this. I read it. And then I do this. I look to see if there's another side. Some people have double-sided cards, right? And I want to make sure I got it all. And then after that, I will keep this card in front of them while we're talking until I leave. I will not put away the card yet. I have the card still in my hands the entire conversation. Until I'm done with that individual, great meeting you, and now I will put the card away. But until I'm done, this card stays out. Why? Showing that I'm interested. Reference. That's right. You have something? Showing you're interested in reference. Focus. Yeah. Respect. Some people spend a lot of money on these things. They're advertisement. I do want to show respect. I do want to seem interested. I do want to reference back if they say something that's not on here. I may want to write something on it. But here's the key. I will ask their permission first. May I write something on the back of your card that you just mentioned? Most people say yes, without question. I have yet to have seen anyone who has said no to that. But it can happen. Because they may not want you to write on their card. Their card may be something unique to their particular brand. For example, nowadays you're seeing cards that have QR codes, those fancy little squiggly lines that you scan with your smartphone and it'll take you to a website. They may not want you to mess anything up on their card. Maybe they put the QR code that's the size of the back of the card, so they just don't want you to do that. They may hand you at that point another card or a piece of paper. Here, take down this information. But you always ask permission before you start to write on that individual's card. That is key. And then you always hold that card until they're done. Even in a meeting or a table, if I'm sitting down at lunch with somebody, I will put the card down in front of me and continue talking. But that card stays on the table, not in my lap or anywhere else. It stays on the table, so again, I can still reference it, I can still look at it. If I'm in front of a bunch of people, I put it in the order that the people are in front of me, and now I can't forget their names. Little trick I learned a long time ago. I'm not good at names, so that just worked for me. And then when we're done, I can tag the cards, put them back in my pocket. And it was all good. They liked it. Now the other thing with, oh yes, please.
Can I add something to that I just learned?
Yes, please.
Is that if you do have a business card, you want to give to the person that you're meeting first. As opposed to most people, and I've observed this as well, if you go, especially in sales, if you're at a furniture store, a lot of times people will talk to you, what are you interested in, what type of furniture are you interested in, and then at the end, they hand you the card.
Oh, wow.
And I just learned, within the last week, you always hand the card to that person first. And then that way, you've already established that connection. So,
very important, definitely correct. And also remember that when you're handing folks cards, may I hand you my business card? May I hand you my business card? Ask permission first. They may not be able to carry a business card. They may have a suit that's got the pockets, they got nothing on them really to carry it. It's just going to fall in the garbage. Their hands may be dirty with something they were doing earlier and they just don't want to carry it. May I hand you my business card? May I have a business card? I'd like to contact you sometime. May I? Permission. It's the old manners. They really do matter for people that are detailed, for people that are successful and detailed. That's what's important in networking. The key component of also networking after you are done with this information is when you're in a networking function, remember, keep it short and sweet. The maximum amount of time that you should spend with individuals, especially in a larger setting where there's many people to meet, is about 2 minutes. Is about 2 minutes per person. And when you're approaching a group of people, you should always wait till the conversation has subsided so that you can interject. Don't just barge in and say, hey, I heard you guys talking about something. That never goes along well. In job fairs, trade shows that you might attend, again, you are there representing yourself. Companies don't barge in. They listen, they work their way in, they use common sense and courtesy, carry lots of business cards, but also be ready to collect lots of business cards, and interject with people, conversation, the form method, to make sure you know which way to hold the conversation after you hear something about them. But throw it back on them, get off of yourself. You'll learn more. The big meeting is the meeting after the meeting. That's the big meeting. When you realize that they have something that potentially you might be interested in, and you say, may I have your business card? I'd like to be able to contact you, perhaps in a day or so, to discuss this further. We may have something in common, or something mutual I might be able to offer your company. Because the key component is this. Each and every one of you, while you're unemployed, to me, you're a liability. You're a $30,000, $40,000 liability until you prove otherwise. That's the honest truth. But the way you presented yourself, you've already told me that maybe this is an investment. Maybe I should give this person a chance to sit and chat with me for coffee. And now the interview is really, you're the one setting the standard. You're the one setting the tone. You're the one that's improving. In networking functions, that's your opportunity to set the tone, that you're in control. You want to connect with them. You want to focus with them. And always keep your word. Always follow through whatever you said. You said you're going to call them in a couple of days. 48 hours is a couple of days in all the parts of the world that I know. So it should be within 48 hours, I should be getting a call or a message reminding me where I met you and seeing if we can get together for that coffee. Everything counts. The details count. That's why it's important to look at that. Office etiquette. Telephone. When I thought about this for a moment, I said to myself, I said, there's a lot of companies right now that are hiring, but for temporary jobs. Now, I don't know exactly how this room feels about temporary jobs, but to me, money's money. And if I can get some money for a short time, it's better than no money and no time. That's my personal feeling. Now, I know many of you are important, benefits is important, and things of that nature. But again, for me, it's, if I was in your shoes, I'd go for the temp job. I would. And see what happens. See if that's where I'm meant to be. I never even knew it. So I'm in that temp job, and I'm sitting in the office now. I've been hired, been given a little cubicle or a position somewhere. And how do you act so that you seem like an investment instead of a liability? The first place I noticed was the telephone. No personal calls. No personal calls. You're on the business owner's dime. I pay the phone. I pay the phone. The only thing I pay for is stuff that makes me money. My customers. The people you're contacting. That's the facts. If you have a personal call to do, you will do it at your time, on your phone, not mine. That's proper etiquette. And today's technology, they can gauge that. They can see all the numbers you're calling and when you did it. There's no way around that. So the point is, if I see that your phone is constantly just doing my business, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You should always answer the phone the way you've been trained by the company to answer the phone. And the attitude, remember, that we talked about? Smile when you talk on the phone and you will always sound positive. Smile when you talk on the phone and you will always sound positive. And here's another trick. Sometimes we get questions on the phone that we're not sure how to answer. And something comes out of our mouth that I still am to this day always working on. And so that is the point where your brain is disconnected from its mouth and they left it open. And that's what comes out. See, in Toastmasters, we learn about this and we practice very extensively on avoiding it. But how do you avoid it when you don't have anyone to talk to in front of you? You do exactly what I've been doing all this time I've been talking to you. You look at people's eyes. When you look at someone's eyes, you're glued to them. You can't say as fast. Happens when I do this. I just left you and I went into space and now I disconnected my brain from my mouth. So how do you do it when you're talking on the phone? Stick a picture of someone right in front of you. Nice 4x8, 5x8 picture right there in front of you and stare at them when you're talking to the individual. And you will not say no. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain sees a pair of eyeballs. It immediately snaps into I'm talking to someone else. And I gotta be my best. So when you're on the phone, talk to a pair of eyeballs. And listen carefully. If you are like me and have short-term memory loss and ADD at the same time, go ahead and take immaculate notes. Have a notebook dedicated to just the note-taking of every detail of those people they're talking about. Because if you're an administrative person and you're taking messages, you must take the right message. If you mess up me, my business. I am done. I can mess up that order. I can lose that client. This is valuable time. Every detail counts. So on the phone, you are immaculate. And if whatever you promise on the phone, deliver. It's your phone at that time. So if you promise something to that client, it's representing me. I made that promise, didn't I? You have to keep it. That's what I'm counting on. And if you made a mistake, apologize. Don't use the word sorry. Do not use the word sorry. Sorry is a weak word. It has no power behind it. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I apologize for what just happened. I apologize for that particular misquote. I have the numbers right here. I apologize. It's an etiquette, powerful word that indicates exactly how you feel. And that you respect them for that. You're not demeaning yourself. You're not demeaning them. It is an error. It is a human error. Nothing we can do about it except apologize. The other word that's extremely powerful, just in case you're using it with your kids, or anyone you want to talk to, your husband, I'm disappointed. Don't you feel that word? I'm disappointed. See, when we use that in the business world, as a business owner, it's tough love. It's tough love. I'm not diminishing your character. I'm saying I am disappointed at what just happened. So those are two key words. The first one is the one you use for business. The second one, use it on your folks, your loved ones, your people that you really care about. Words matter. Words matter a lot. That's why I teach them. But I apologize when it's over. So those are important. Next one is a very popular one. Emails. Emails. Electronic mail. Remember, nothing is confidential when sent electronically. That is the biggest thing you have to learn. Nothing is confidential. I don't care how many times you hit delete, it can be found. There is software readily available that can track everything that you do. And it's available at your local Best Buys. It's not even available by the government anymore. Best Buy, you can get this stuff. That can track every single email you ever sent. So now again, you're sitting in the cubicle, you're writing emails. No personal emails. No personal emails. You are disconnected from your world on my computer. It's my computer. Business owner. Disconnected. Subject line. Line that says subject. Must be a clear subject so that I know what you're sending me. Because on computers nowadays, sometimes I only have room to see the subject because of all the emails I get. So I need the subject to be exact. Subject line could be order number 53333, reject statement. Customer complaint, very important. Not just simply forward, responding ... and nothing behind it. You must have a subject line that's clear, because that way I can find it later, or you can find it later, if you have to bring it back up again. So subject lines are important. The body must always address dear, hi, somebody's name. Don't leave that top part blank and start talking your content. Always introduction. Mr., Mrs., Doctor. That's how you reply to them when you speak to them personally. That's what you put in the subject, in the introduction. Mr. John Smith, if they're very proper. but it's always the subject line. Always the subject line in the introduction. Then the body, get to the point, fast. Get to the point fast. In the body, oftentimes you will get responding emails that have questions for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a question. The proper way to respond to those is you copy-paste the question back to your body, and now you answer it underneath. Then you copy-paste the second question, and fill in your response underneath. That is the proper way to respond to sometimes a bullet point of questions that I wanted to know from you. So that they're right back on top where I can see them. I don't have to scroll down and try to figure out, oh, that was 1, that was 3, that was 5. No. It's quickly, they're all there already with the answer right in between. And if you can color code it, even better. Meaning the question was black, now you put your answer in red, so I can tell exactly what I'm looking at. That's details. That makes powerful sense. And always, always, always check before you send. If you said there was an attachment, I know we've all done it, and you forgot the attachment when you sent it. That's fool on you. See, details. Before you send it, wait, check it. It's all there. My signature's there. My phone number's there. My information is there. In the signature, I can hit send. I'm good. That's what you want to do all the time with emails. That's email etiquette. But remember the first part there. Nothing is confidential. It can be found. And that's why a lot of people, I believe, have not been hired again by companies. They looked at how many times they've been sending notes and friends and images to all their friends from their job. That's my penny. They're wasting my time. I can't hire somebody like that. I need someone who's focused on my business, not their other personal business. And we're all guilty of that. But that's the etiquette that is now the standard for today's business. A cubicle. There is no free airspace. You are not in a vacuum in your cubicle. When you talk, everybody listens. Use inside voice. Do not yell. Do not increase your voice. Do not project your voice. Use inside voice. That's what I tell my children. Inside voice. So if you're in a cubicle, inside voice. That's what you want to use when you're talking to folks. There is no privacy in a cubicle. No matter how low you whisper. If you're whispering something, that's not the place to do it. Because everyone's going to hear it. Gossip is the killer of most temporary jobs. And it's usually in the form of a whisper. That's what got you. That's what got you. It travels through that cubicle like a mouse in a maze. It finds its way to the business owner, to the HR manager. And suddenly you're being called into the HR office and you're like, oh, you heard that? Yeah. We can hear it all the way over here. That's how we set up the cubicles. So again, with cubicles, you want to do that. Keep your cubicle always minimal personal. It's okay to put a photo of your children, your husband, your spouse. It's okay to put maybe an award or something you're proud about. It shows dignity in what you do. But do not start putting photos of everything else you can think of. And especially do not start putting photos of where you'd rather be. I've seen those and they blow my mind away. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes. Calendars are part of the business world, but that's why you want a calendar that just has plain Jane, or maybe the company's calendar. See, a lot of companies have their own calendars. Use theirs. But we're in the technology world now. Calendar is on the computer, basically. That's the technology world we live in. So there's not really much of a need on paper calendars as it used to be. So that's why you have to start merging back. So keep everything that's personal to you at a minimum in your cubicle. That gray area I talked about earlier with regards to religion, politics, things of that nature. You got to watch those too. You have to watch those. Funny movie I saw not that long ago that was Transformers, I think it was. And the main character, the young man, was trying to look for a job. You saw that movie, right? Yeah, I think it was part 3 or something like that. So he was watching that movie, and he was looking for a job, I should say. And sure enough, he tried to put a particular spin on one of his accomplishments. He had met the president, President Obama, and he had gotten an award from him, and he had shared that with the HR person. The HR person turned around and said, "We're mostly Republican here." You think he got the job? No. But what he touched a political realm. Whatever it is that's in that cubicle has got to be neutral. It's got to be neutral. Because you don't know the environment. You don't know who you're dealing with. And you're a temp still, which means you're trying to impress upon them. Everything gets magnified over time when you're in a new place. So you have to watch that. Attending a meeting, very straightforward. On time. Now, what is on time defined by Angel Guerrero and many other professionals in the world? There is no such thing as early. There is only on time or late. There is no such thing as early. There is only on time or late.
For example, if you're going to a meeting, if you don't come 15 minutes before the meeting, I'm going to an appointment or anything.
If you arrive 15 minutes early, you said, you're considered late?
Right.
I haven't heard that.
Okay.
I would think you're on time.
I would think
So I'm not sure about that one. But, yeah, I mean, on time or late. There is no early. Arrive prepared to a meeting. That means a notebook or any other information you were asked to bring. Typically, a notebook with dates and your calendar that you're working off of would be ideal. Because now you have the company calendar, you know all the dates of things going on, and you have yours ready to write down what it is that's going on. Your personal calendar means nothing to me. As a business owner, your personal calendar means nothing to me. You got your child's birthday party, graduation coming up. Sorry. We have to discuss that off time. Not here in my meeting. We're just talking about the dates that I have right now, and that's where we're at. The only time you can bring up that type of conversation if you're at the C level of the corporation. That's when you can go ahead and actually say, well, I got my kid's graduation that day, because you're at the C level. And anything below that, your time's mine. Your time's mine. Yes?
So should you have placed personal appointments on your professional calendar?
That's there from my time. I am 9 to 5. If I'm a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, you're mine Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's something you have to work out with me ahead of time. Like when you're interviewing, you have these particular dates. Maybe it's religious, maybe it's something personal. But those I needed to know that day, not suddenly when we're in a meeting and it's time to work. Make sense? Okay. So everything ahead of time. Attending the meeting always prepared. Attending the meeting ready for questions. All questions should be asked during the meeting, not after. If you're not sure about something, that's the time to ask it. Not after the meeting. While everybody's there, all the heads of whatever departments are there, that's the time you ask the questions. Do not wait until afterwards. You will not have a job. You won't have a job. That's the time. That's the brainstorming moment. That's when we start. Everything is done there. And then whatever tasks you have, you should have a section in your pad for tasks, to-do lists. That should be right there on your margin or wherever you put it on your pad. Not every detail of the meeting in one place. If you're like that, bring a highlighter so that you can highlight the task at that point and know which one you have to do first. You have to be that detailed in the meeting. That will show me as a business owner that you are set to go. That's when you have a question. Okay. So attending a meeting. When the meeting breaks, take all your stuff and get to work. Organize it however you have to do so that you're already working on it. And if they didn't ask, you need to ask this question. When should this be done by? When should this be done by? Sometimes as business owners, we're just giving away orders and demands. And on my mind, I'm thinking yesterday. But you don't know that. So you have to ask me, by when is this due? When is this to be done? That's it. Very important. So that you know you're set. Everybody else in that room, they got their own deals. Don't concern yourself. Unless they have to give you something. Then you're looking at them and saying, when will I have that? If someone else in the meeting is holding your progress up, you need to get to that person and say, when will I have that by? Does that match my deadline? If it doesn't, we need to work that out now before we leave the meeting. So that way my boss sees that it's going to get done. All those little details. Thinking outside the box? No, it's really thinking within the goal of the company. The work culture. This is extremely important. What is the work culture? I once had an interview, I still remember this, that I came to the company at Halloween. And not a single person was dressed up. Not a one. Nobody in that company was less than this on Halloween, the third major holiday in the United States. New Year's, Christmas, Halloween, Easter. Nope, Thanksgiving is like that. Money, meaning how much spending is done on those holidays. Nobody was dressed, so what does that tell me? Not a single person was dressed in that office that way. That's the culture. That's telling me that that culture exists there. That Halloween is just another day at the office. We don't do that. Or maybe they're not pagan. I don't know. But that told me, next year Halloween, I can't dress up either. I can't change that. I'm not going to try to break the rules. No way. That's not going to happen. And the same thing happened with each and every other holiday in that company. They did not do anything outside of business. So that brings the next one. What does business casual look like in some companies? Everybody's always heard of business casual day. There must be a business casual day at every company. No, not true. Not every company has a business casual day. You have to find that out, usually the hard way. Or you can be smart and just ask. Are there business casual days where I dress different than what I am today? And I wear open toes? See, that's important. If you ask that question, you're getting into the culture of the company, which is very important. What is the informal hierarchy of the company? Now, this one really blew me away. You all remember this because there was always one person in high school that you knew everything. There was one person in high school, one position that was reputable in knowing everything about the school. You're smiling. Who is it? Who do you think it was?
Well, I think it's the person that knows everybody. The person that...
what was that position?
I just remember within, my group of people.
Yeah.
They listen to us as much as this one.
Okay.
So they heard.
Okay. Well, who was that person?
In my school, the guidance secretary.
Okay. Where I grew up in high school, it was the janitor.
I was going to say custodian.
Yep. The custodian. That person was the know-it-all more so than anything else. And then became more enlightened with the movie The Breakfast Club. Remember The Breakfast Club? Some of you may or may not see it. It's a great movie to see, fun movie, but the janitor was the key person. That individual was the key person of the school, the heart of the school. So you have to find out who is the heart really of the company. It's not always the CEO. It's sometimes the admin person for the CEO. You ever notice that in the health profession? The nurses tend to know more about patients than the doctor does, doesn't it? Yeah. The nurses are the heart of the hospital. That's always been the case. And I'll tell you this as a fact, I share it all the time. There's a few professions that I believe should be earning six-figure incomes without question residually. One of them is nurses. I believe that. I was in an accident, and the nurses, they kept me going. They kept me having calm and calmness, their voices, holding my hand. The doctor just came in and gave me bad news, and I didn't like that. Police officers, firemen and women, teachers. Those are the ones that I believe should be earning six-figure incomes religiously from this country. They're our bread and butter. They're the ones that make us who we are, honestly, protect us, help us when we're hurt. But that diverse. So the key thing is you have to find out that informal hierarchy. Who is really the person that has the connection, that has the pulse to the company? When you find that person in the time you're temp, you might find out a lot more and get help that you need if you become their friend. When it comes to the point of maybe the HR person actually asking them if they should hire you or not. Do you like Martha? I'm like, yeah, I like Martha. Okay. Martha, you hire. Why? Because she likes you. She's the cleaning lady. I know, but I trust her. It just is that way. Companies have a fingerprint, and that's usually what you're trying to find. What is the fingerprint of that company? Where is it? Where is the fingerprint? Who is the contact? Who's the one that's really the one that everybody migrates to? The hold it together person. And even in big companies, they exist. Big Fortune 500 companies, they exist. They're there in divisions, in departments. You just need to find that person. Listen as you're sitting in that job. You'll find that person. But to get to know the work culture is important. Ask about the work culture. Ask about what do they do on relaxed days. Ask on birthdays. Ask about what happens during celebration time. Do we ever celebrate anything of the company? Ask what do we do when we go to meetings. Don't just run because they have a meeting. Ask what's the protocol for this meeting? How's it work? Do we raise our hand? Do we talk? Do we just chime in? What's the culture? And typically, you can just stay quiet and observe. Stay quiet and observe, and you can see the culture developing. You can hear people talking. You can see maybe people leaving Avon books by the water cooler. That's culture. Because if they're doing that, that's telling you something about the company. Look at that, they're leaving Avon books over here. So obviously they're okay with that. Something to note. All those little details. Do they have a coffee room? There's some businesses that don't actually. They don't have a break room. What's that tell you? No breaks. You go out to lunch and you come back here. I don't have food for you. And some have immaculate. Some have immaculate cafeterias. I was at the Center for Creative Leadership. Immaculate cafeteria. They have foods for everybody. Meat eaters, vegetable eaters, vegans, all of them. Immaculate. So what's that tell you about the culture? See, it's a lot of information you can get by just hanging in there. The emails you get is the owner signature. Is it just truly yours, or thanks? Or does it have a Bible scripture in the bottom? Or does it have a symbol of some sort? Have a happy face. These are cultural things, and you have to blend in with that culture and see what it is. And you will find out who the movers and shakers are, and that's what getting to know the culture is all about. And then make a positive impression each day. This is the part that I guess is my biggest pet peeve with the workforce today, is that people do not take ownership of their position in the company. Ownership. What does that look like? When you own something. How do you act when you own something? I still remember the first day I got my first car. Still remember it. 21 years old. Yeah, 21 when I got my first car. My dad and I went in together, half and half. 1988 Buick Skylark. Had an engine that sounded like a jet plane when I turned it on in the morning. Woke up the whole neighborhood. But it was mine. Buff up the tires, make sure the inside always was clean. Any dust there, got to pick that piece up and throw it out. That was ownership. Make sure the oil was always changed, the tires were always filled right. When I had to make sure they take it in for inspection, never delayed on that. That's ownership. Now you're given a position in a company. Maybe a permanent job, maybe just a temp job. How are you taking it? Is it yours? I'll know if you don't own it as a business owner. I'll know if you really aren't taking care of my position, my chair, my table, my computer, my copy machine, my stapler, my water cooler, my cafeteria. See the difference? That's how you make things a positive impression. You own it. That's where I think a lot of folks have lost the opportunity to have a permanent job with a temp position. They forgot to own that position. They just abused it. They did the minimum. They looked at the watch to get out at exactly 5 p.m. They timed out, and I could see in their card every day it was exactly 5, and every morning it was exactly 9. Or maybe it was 9:10, 9:01, 9:05. They just didn't even come in on time. HR purposes, I still had to pay them 40 hours. But did they give me 40 hours? Was their lunch break exactly 1 hour? Or was it an hour and a half? Hour and 15? Did they give me 40 hours? No. Liability. Not an investment. That's how you start ownership. It's part of professionalism. You see, it's not all about this stuff. This stuff I can put on all of you, respectively, and you're going to look all the same. Your resumes are all the same. What changes the dynamic of whether or not I'm going to pay you consistent and offer you raises and keep you happy because I want you in my company is going to be professionalism. It's going to be ownership. It's going to be in the details. It's going to be all of those aspects we just went through. That's what's going to make me want to keep you. That's what's going to make me want to consistently have you with my team. Because you make me look good. That's what I pay for. So the bottom line, be one step ahead. Practice the social skills necessary to help you make a great first impression and stand out in this competitive job market. That's what this will help you do. That's what this will help you do in any circle you're in, whether it's here at a workshop, a networking function, a job fair, whatever it is. These details and more, because there are more, will help you constantly stand out of that stack. Now what I have for you, if you haven't gotten already, Kim made a nice effort. She put 20 questions together that I found through an etiquette website that I thought were really cool. And I want you to take those home and just answer them right off the bat the way you think, true or false. So they're easy. Can't be 50% wrong all the time. And then at the end, it has a website address where you can get the answers to them. And you'd be surprised. I have yet to have seen anyone get 100%. Because they're kind of tough little questions. Some are hopefully etiquette easy. Some really you have to say, okay, I'm going to say true, but I'm not sure. And that's okay, because at the end, when you click on the website, you go and see the answer. And at that point, you just learn another tip that will help you stand out in front of this competitor. Now I'll open up for any